Good afternoon. Here is Sister Oloruntoyin. I'm hosting this Saturday's edition of Black Mental Health Matters. And today we'll be talking about refugees, mental health or issues of refugees and migrants, and especially addressing recovering from trauma. All over the world, refugees have been forced to flee from their various countries of origin to places where they hope to find safety and shelter. Now, it is a fact that many refugees have high rates of mental health difficulties in response to the displacement that they have experienced, in response to the various traumatic experiences that they have experienced. Today, my first guest is Delphine Takwi, a social worker and counselor. And I would ask you, please, Delphine, introduce yourself. You're muted.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, sister, for giving me the privilege to be here today um, and to be among you. My name, like sister just said, is Delphine Chakri. I live in, let me say, Hamburg, Schleswig-Holstein. So partly because I work there in both states as a social worker, a pastor, an activist. So and my focus is on African migrant women. My focus of work. So, do you need more or
Thank you very much. Thank you. The topic is recovering from trauma. What exactly would you say is the most important thing to recognize or to understand when we are talking about recovering from trauma?
okay? Before, when we listen to the word recovering, it means something has taken place, and we are now recovering from that thing. I would say when we talk about recovering from trauma, the first thing is to focus and identify what happened first, before we are struggling to see if the person can recover or if we can recover from the issue. And most often, meeting an adult or a migrant here in Europe, we often think that the trauma starts here in Europe. um, Dealing with migrant women from Africa, I would say most of the trauma starts from childhood, from their childhood ages, because if we don't recognize what actually happened during their childhood ages, it will be difficult to really solve the issue, the trauma, or to really help them come out from the traumatic state.
Experiences.
Yeah. So the genesis of stress, most of the women I can only talk about the women I've been dealing with. Most of them, they have issues. The genesis of their trauma starts from their childhood, and this include factors that influence this trauma. This includes poverty, loss of parents, or neglect in general. You may have a single mother or both mother and father who can take care of you, or abuse from childhood, all type of
Mhm.
abuse. Because often when we talk about abuse, we first of all click on sexual abuse, but there are other forms of abuse that takes place in the childhood life. And in this childhood stage, the a child is supposed to acquire knowledge and learn skills on how to break down challenges that might lead to trauma. And most of the people that teach you the skills are supposed to be your loved ones and your community. But we realize that most of our women, they they don't have even the loved ones. They don't have people who can even give them the skills. Even if they have, they don't even know the skills. So they keep on piling the stress, and often this stress might tend to toxic stress. So it will build up an underlying toxic stress that when they succeed, or when they struggle and come out from this environment and enter into, let's say, their migrant country of hope like Germany and or Europe, America and stuff, we will realize that instead of them feeling that, okay, I am living now, I carry with me hope, hope for a better life, and my beliefs. Belief may include the religion, part of their culture and stuff. But when they come here, instead of that hope of um, being stable, they are faced with another challenges. Cultural shock, language shock, the discrimination and racism and stuff. And all this now stir up again another layer of trauma with them. So to really say, I I really want to, when we look at my women that I work with, they are women in force who has experienced forced prostitution. And all of them is not only forced prostitution, they have suffered from rape, they have suffered from FGMC. So all this build up together, when they arrive here, they are faced now with one, the institutional structure of welcoming migrants, because most often these institutions, they focus on mostly on let me say, they focus mostly on what they want to, like, on their, instead of the person, the well-being of the person, they focus on what they want that is good for their society. And if you are not good enough for their society, you are treated as a trash. And besides, our black skin is also an issue, because the first thing about the black skin is when they see you, they think you don't know anything. You can't even know anything. You have never been to school. They treat you as if they put all of us in, most often in one canopy, in a particular carton, the carton of the illiterate, the carton of those that can clean. Then, looking at the BAMF, Bundesamt für Migration und Flüchtlinge, I don't, yeah, the people that interview these migrants, one, they are not aware of the culture of the migrant. If you don't know where I'm coming from, you only see me where I'm standing. It will be, sorry, it will be so difficult for you to even understand me and then help me. So for now, that's just what I can say. And first, I have to really apologize because I'm really sick. I'm suffering from cold, and I won't really talk long. I really wish I can attend a second meeting because I really am down, so I can say.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking the time to come, even though you are having a flu. I would, I would really thank you so much. What you have said, you've explained that trauma is actually an emotional response that results not only from the distressing event of a war, of arriving in Europe, but this traumatic experience has actually often started already in childhood. And in childhood, for some people, it's one of the reasons why they are forced to flee through a traumatic event, which has actually destroyed the sense of safety, the sense of self, and in childhood, where one learns to regulate emotions and navigate relationships and social life, that already there, the trauma has often occurred in childhood, not only at the time of persecution or at the time of um, fleeing
Migration.
war, but often this has happened before the migratory experience. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for that insight.
Mm.
Um, I would like to invite you for the second episode and give you the chance to take a rest now, to take a leave, and I look forward to seeing you again. Thank you so much.
Much. A big hug to you all, and I wish you all a very successful meeting. Uh,
Thank you so
Thank
much. Thank you.
you. Okay. So I have to leave here.
Okay, so welcome to Dr. Peace and also to Esther.
Thank
Please
you.
introduce yourself, Dr. Peace.
Hi everyone. Just as Sister Loratonia have said, I am Dr. Peace. Actually, it's kind of weird having the doctor because I just recently graduated. I am a medical graduate from Sumi State's Medical University in Ukraine, and I am currently uh, an an activist for the Africans from Ukraine. Yes, so this is what I'm doing right now. Thank you.
Thank you. And Esther, please introduce yourself.
Okay, my name is Esther. Uh, I
You're
studied
muted.
engineering. Oh, I am? Hello? We can hear you. Okay, okay. So, my name is Esther. I studied engineering in Ukraine, Poltava National Technical University, and I graduated once I got to Germany. And just like Dr. Peace, it really feels weird. I don't know how to even introduce myself in that sense. But yeah, I am an engineering graduate, and I'm also an activist for African students, African students from Ukraine.
Okay, it seems I'm having network problems. I couldn't hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. You can.
Yes, you can hear me.
Hmm.
Okay, Dr. Peace, can you give us a definition? What is who is a refugee? Who is an asylum seeker?
Okay, so a refugee is someone that, due to the fear of persecution, has left his or her own country to find refuge, to find um, security or shelter or safety in another country. So that's a refugee. And an asylum seeker is someone basically that is also in the same process but has gone the further step of putting in an application for a legal, let's say, protection in the system that this person is seeking a refuge in, you know. And during the time that a decision is made on this person's case, this person is given the status of an asylum seeker. So, Sister, you're muted. Can't hear you.
Okay, we're going to have to improvise due to network. I can't hear anybody.
Oh, really?
Um, Esther,
Yes.
okay, what is your experience at the moment? What has been your experience?
Mm, my experience being a refugee from Ukraine has honestly not been something to talk about. It has been very stressful, very depressing to be honest, and sometimes I find myself questioning so many things that in a sense, in a way, I have never felt this way ever before. So this being a refugee has done so much. I don't want to say, but it has done so much damage to me mentally and emotionally, and to and also how to with it.
Okay, Dr. Peace, you have been coordinating the group Africans from Ukraine. What
Yes.
observations have you made regarding mental issues, mental distress? Um, what what can be done in such issues? How does one recognize? Are you
Okay.
muted? Are you? Can
Yeah,
you
yeah,
say
yeah.
something,
I
please?
heard you. Okay, so basically the issue of recognizing someone that is having a mental distress is okay. Can you hear me now? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's very distinct. It's almost you need to know is it hello?
Yeah, hello.
Okay. Were you guys hearing me? Because I
No,
wasn't seeing
Oh,
anybody.
no, we
Okay.
weren't.
yes, we can hear you,
We hear you
All
now.
right.
Hmm.
So I
but
was
we
saying
didn't hear you before. Just repeat it kindly what you said.
okay, so sorry about the internet. I was saying that like me personally, I've been coordinating the Africans students, Africans professionals
Um,
from
Esther, can you
and
go ahead, please? From what your observations and your experience with
Peace was still talking, so I
maybe she can't hear me from her side. Can you
we
hear
can. Peace is still talking. Hello.
okay. All right,
I
should
don't
I
think
just
she can.
hmm?
No, I think you can just go on.
Okay.
Hmm.
So um basically my experience of coordinating the Africans from Ukraine, it's you really need to know what you're looking for. You know, you
yes. So
really
as we said before, the migration policies and practices actually make it worse for refugees to heal in the country of arrival. Um, in Germany, for example, it is very difficult to access mental health services, and in particular, the asylum procedure does not offer the necessary access to healthcare services.
Okay, I can't hear anybody. I don't know if it's my
I
network.
think I think Madame Toyin's internet is having a problem, so I think she's trying to rejoin. So let's
Okay.
just be patient as she does that. Yeah.
Please go ahead. The network is really bad, so I can't hear you. And on my side, you're frozen. So please just go ahead as we discuss the content.
Okay, so I think I'll just go through my own question. So basically, I was saying that while coordinating the Africans from Ukraine, you need to know what to look out for. You know, the thing is that the trauma or this mental distress started just like the first speaker said. It started not from here, but it started from where they are coming from, because there was a reason why they left. It wasn't like a migrant that chose to leave. They were forced. Some people had to stay in the state of fear for a long time before mustering up that courage to take a step of leaving, because that they were so attached to home, to the memories there, to things like that. So it's really, you need to really understand that people are vulnerable when it comes to being refugees of war, of anything. They are very, very vulnerable. And so things like anxiety and depression can really set in, especially when you come to another country and you have hopes, obviously, that you will get what you like, security or healthcare, or just basic certain needs that one would, one will have need for when coming from that vulnerable state, or coming from a place of war or something like that. But coming down here, and you have, this hope that you would meet something different, and things are not just going the way you hoped for. This, just like what um Sister Esther said, it's not just, it's a different shock on its own. So you need to look out for people that are quiet, are in their thoughts, people that are isolated. They don't feel so comfortable with other people, and you need to come in with a sort of welcoming, like, how will I say it now? Knowing that the struggle is common, and you yourself have gone through that same struggle builds a sort of foundation that you can actually work with, because someone would want to open up to somebody that can understand what that person is going through. So, me being a refugee of the same war, I could relate to people that come in with these sort of experiences because I had my own experiences from the war. So, these and other things are what we should look out for, the anxiety, the confusion when someone is can't seem to hold a train of thoughts, going from here and there. It really shows, but you have to also be looking out for it too, because nobody, it's not written on the forehead that people have are mentally distressed, no. But yeah, with keen observation and with just compassion, that welcoming spirit, and just care, I think this will go a long way to helping people with mental distress. Yeah, thank you. So, sister, if you can hear me, over to you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. You've pointed out some very important. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hello?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So, some of the points which you were discussing or pointing out, like the depression and anxiety, depression, which is often due to loss. Yeah, you refugees have lost their home, they've lost their work, they've lost social standing, and these are situations which refugees face. You also describe this uncertainty, this living in a situation. As you arrived, for example, here in Germany, refugees on arrival or asylum seekers are often not knowing what the future will bring.
Mm.
In a situation sometimes where they feel there are no solutions. So it's very important not to lose perspective. Esther, can you describe some of the challenges that are also present? There were situations of, for example, finding housing, employment.
Esther, you muted.
Oh, okay. So thank you. So yeah, as refugees, when we got here, what you said about the uncertainty was a very big issue because around the first few months after we fled the country, that was what most of us were experiencing, the uncertainty, like what to do, where to go from here, what to do next. It was such a big issue for me, for instance, for me, speaking from experience. And once we got to here in Germany, one of the challenges that we faced was trying to find affordable housing places that we could lay our heads, sleep, find enough rest to, continue or have the strength to go through all these challenges that are coming our ways. So finding housing, affordable housing was one of the big things, and also finding employment because we wanted to be able to, be able to cater for ourselves. To once you have money, you are able to do so many things. You are able to make ways, find ways to help yourselves in this kind of situation. For example, here, when we came here, compared to Ukraine, the standard of living in Germany here is so high compared to Ukraine. Living in Ukraine, when I got here, I realized that it was way cheaper. So finding employment was one of the big things that most of us were looking for to be able to sustain ourselves here. But it was also one of the challenges that we faced, and also the language. The issue with the language, there is this big language barrier here in Germany, since most of us we have no idea of the Deutsch language, so it was very difficult mostly to communicate our feelings or what we are experiencing with people that we come across, because there was not a common ground for us to, speak. And also, most of us, we faced discrimination and racism. And racism, sometimes most people, when they do some things, when you try to confront them about it, they think it's not racist or anything, but most people, their actions, their way of thinking, their way of approach to us, it's pure racism, but I don't know, probably ignorance, but that is one of the things that we face. Most Ukrainians were given so many opportunities, but we, just because we are from third world countries, just because we are black, just because we don't bear resemblance to them, we were discriminated against, and that was one of the big challenges that we went through and we are still going through. And when it comes to discrimination, it kills one's spirit, to be honest, when you see that we all went through the same experiences, we all faced this same thing in Ukraine, but when we came out of it, when we fled the war, when we thought we were trying to seek refuge, when we got to the point people were being treated better than we were, it makes us sit and think that, are we not important enough? Are we not human, just like the Ukrainians? But then I think that's what the world is right now, and it's very sad and it's very heartbreaking, and it's something that can really break one's spirit. Yeah, so these are some of the challenges that we are currently going through as third world countries, nationals from Ukraine. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Okay. And what I'm hearing from you is that actually, the sooner you're able to live your normal lives, that this has a stabilizing effect. So if you have housing, you have employment, that these are all measures which will assist the recovery process.
Yes. Yes. Because with all these things, it takes away some kind of pressure from you as well. Because
Okay.
in this
How
situation,
is the communication at the moment with your families?
communication, communication with family, it's good, it's okay. And me, I have a very
Please
good
go ahead
community.
with what you were saying. I'm sorry, there's a delay.
Oh, okay, okay. So when it comes to communication with family, um, my mom actually calls me every day, and sometimes I don't think it's something that she should do, but I guess she wants to make sure that I'm doing well. And most of the times, there are some things that, although you have good relationships with your family, you can't really tell them. There are some things that you go through that you tend to keep from your family. So, mostly because you fear that they might not understand or get you. That is why it is also important for us to talk about our feelings with the people that have gone through the same experiences like we have. Just like Dr. P said, that when it comes to these things, finding people who have gone through the same uh, things that you have gone through, talking about all these things is very, very important. Yeah.
Mhm. Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Peace, how do you identify when someone is in need of urgent mental health care?
Mm. Okay, so firstly, I think you need to know what should be normal in like a normal response to to someone. How will I say it now? Mm. Let me put it this way: when someone escapes from war, there are certain things that the person exhibits that is normal in terms of what they have gone through. People that are quiet, or people that want to just be on their own, break down in tears when remembering what they have lost. These things are, you know, given their situation, it's a bit of a normal response, because people yeah. But then when we talk about what you asked, which is like mental distress, and it goes a bit, how would I say it, more it would be more alarming, and it would take more observation. It would be more distinct, let me just put it like that. So you may be, for instance, you may have someone that gets angry easily, burst of anger. This might be from the experiences, this might be from frustration, confusion, you know. So it
Anger as a
yes,
point.
anger, you know, and not only just that, but like let's say certain times this mental stress shows physically. So someone can eat more, feel feel their emotions up more, and that would be like their own response to stress. Or someone might have no need for food, like they might just lose appetite. And other things can be like palpitations, physical palpitations that people have, like just because the anxiety is getting to them. So these are like more alarming cases, and this is something that like should be taken note of. And you know treatment, or like measures should be put in place in order to have these people go under some kind of care, just to help with the situation so that it doesn't escalate. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, so things to watch out for are like anger, irritability. You mentioned also there might be changes in the eating habits or eating patterns,
Yes.
overeating or
Mm,
losing appetite.
exactly. Exactly.
And you mentioned also isolation, withdrawal,
Yeah.
that these are also some of the indications.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. One thing I have also observed is that there is a kind of um, self healing, which takes place as well, which you were talking about, Esther,
Yeah.
that there are ways which we can take care of ourselves,
Mhm.
especially in a situation where the government or the is not welcoming and is not um, given the access to the necessary health care.
Mhm.
So this is where you were talking about self-care. Could you expatiate on that?
Yeah, sure. Before that, I would like to share my own experience with depression. I realized that it got to a time that I just wake up and I think to myself, like really, do I really have to do this? Like, do I really have to go through this whole life thing? And sometimes I just also wake up and I just let out a big sigh and I'm like, yeah, here we go again. Like I used to kind of wake up disappointed in somehow. So it was a very difficult phase for me, to be honest. And don't get me wrong, I really had so many things that I'd planned to achieve in life. I have so many things that I want to do in life. But then that is what depression does to you. Depression, it's it just eats you up. It makes you, want to give up on the things that you've set out to do in life. And the things that you used to find important, they all of a sudden lose the value that they used to have. And that is why it is very important for us to talk about these things and find ways to, fight it however way possible that we can. So around that time, it was very difficult for me, but then I decided to, do something about it. And I think that is one of the biggest steps to fight against depression. When you wake up one day and you decide to, you make a decision, you decide to take a stand and do something about it. Because so one day I just woke up and I decided to, try my best and work things out of the depression that was I was going through at the time. And I started, with this self care thing because usually when you are depressed, you don't have the energy to like do anything. You just lie down and question so many things. So, uh, and when you decide on self care too, I think that's one of the biggest things or the greatest gifts you can give to yourself at that time. Because in that time, when you make that decision, you are telling yourself that you are important. You are telling yourself that you are not going to let this depression eat you up. And you are telling yourself that you also matter and that you are choosing you are choosing yourself. So it is very it's such an important thing to do to take care of yourself. So one of the examples of self-care will be to eat healthy, to eat healthy. And in fact, to eat actually, because sometimes when you're depressed, you don't have the appetite, you don't even have the energy to eat anything. So you make sure you eat, and as you eat too, you make sure you eat healthy, you eat balanced diet to get the energy to, go about your day-to-day activities. And also, one thing you can do for yourself is to, exercise regularly. And I'm someone who don't really like going out most of the times, but I think it's very important for us to go out, to, not go out, maybe do things, take a walk, go to the nearest shop or store, supermarket by your side, go buy water or whatever. Just do something. Make sure you move. Don't lie down all day. If you do that, it is going to keep you thinking and keep you wallowing in all the negativities that you have surrounded yourself with. So it's very important that we get up, go out, take a walk, and do something mostly. And one thing also is to make sure we get enough sleep. You know, make sure you are getting enough sleep. It is very important because it reduces the stress and the anxiety that we are going through. And we should also take time to relax, doing something relaxing. What is it that relaxes you? Is it yoga? Is it meditation? Is it listening to music? Is it like whatever it is? Me personally, music relaxes me, very calm music. And sometimes I love to listen to rain for it relaxes me, it calms my nerves. So there are these audios of rain or videos of rain that I used to listen to calm myself. So whatever it is that calms you, I think you should do it, anything relaxing. And also, you make sure you set your goals, your priorities, uh, make sure they are very clear and that they are very specific too, because sometimes you can just lose sight of them all. So you can also keep reminding yourself every day that this is what you want to do, these are your goals, and you are willing to, do whatever it takes to achieve them. And another thing is to stay connected with your family, your friends, because sometimes when you're all by yourself, you end up thinking, and it's very unhealthy most of the times. But when you surround yourself with friends and family, it makes you feel loved, okay? Because sometimes you can easily forget that there are people that actually love you and there are people that actually care about you. So once you keep reaching out to your family, staying connected to your family, it's reminds it and friends. It keeps you reminded that you are loved and cherished, and also if you are religious, I think you should pray or read your Bible or your Quran. Find time to build a relationship with God because it really helps. It's very helpful in these times. And also sometimes share what's on your mind with your friend, like someone you trust, not just anyone. Okay, share what you're going through with someone you trust. Is it a family member? Is it your closest friend? Because if you don't share what's on your mind, it overwhelms you. All those thoughts, it can be very overwhelming if you don't share them. If you think you can't share them too, you can just practice journaling. You can write them down. What is it that you are thinking? What is it that you are going through? Because I think the first time that I did this, the first time I experienced depression, it was very overwhelming. I kept everything to myself, everything that was on my mind, and it was like it was just me against the world. And I think that shouldn't be it, because there are so many people who are willing to support you. So you shouldn't think that you are the only one going, because this world is a very big world, okay? And once you start thinking that it is just you against the world, it's just over for you, okay? So the first time that I wrote my thoughts down, I took my phone. I think I took my phone, I wrote everything that was on my mind. And after I wrote everything, I just felt very light. I cried, to be honest. It was very relieving. So it is very important to not
Journaling.
keep, yeah, it is very important to not keep to yourself what it is that you are going through, because it becomes very, very overwhelming. It becomes this heavy burden on your shoulders. But once you share, you get relieved. It's a very nice feeling, that thing. Yeah. And yeah, so I think that's basically what I think about this whole self-care thing. And it is not a cure for depression or a cure for mental health, but it really helps. It goes a long way to help you throughout these things. And if you do these things
for
too, you
clinical
also,
depression.
yes, yes.
Mhm.
When you do all these things, or you also try to seek help from professionals. But I think self care is the first step that you should take in fighting or battling against depression. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been so interesting hosting with the delay, but I think you guys are doing a great job.
Mm,
Um, the points you made are so important. It's not like you said, it's not a cure for clinical depression or PTSD, but in cases such as we are now, where there's no access to healthcare, these are all measures one can take to alleviate the situation.
mhm, mhm.
So, yeah, we have someone, Michael Bakveshika, who's saying thank you for the breakdown. And we're slowly rounding up, coming to the end of this episode. So I would like to ask Peace, what would you describe the general situation? Are people looking for professional help? Do they seek treatment?
Uh, okay, so people this vulnerable do not usually, not because they don't want to, but they think they cannot, because they have this fear of being stigmatized, so
Mm,
it's it's somehow to tell someone that has gone through certain things like shock of being
mm,
discriminated at the border, or things that traumatizing of that magnitude, to now have something such as maybe like a cough or a cold or something more significant like palpitations or pain or something of that sort, telling them to go to the hospital even though they would want to, they the fear of not being welcome, the fear of being stigmatized, the fear of being discriminated upon by people that don't understand their situation, the fear of being just embarrassed, that status of refugee, you don't even know where you stand. You understand me? You don't even the this there's a feeling of you being a nuisance to the system. Back at home, you have the
mm,
money, like people came from all walks of life, they were doctors, they were engineers, and being so belittled. It's how will I say, it's not just, you won't see them in the hospitals, you won't see them probably sitting down, like we at the waiting rooms.
mhm,
It might not be from the workers, the health workers, but it might be from other people sitting in the same waiting room, because we have had instances where people
Stigma is an issue.
basically want to like they want to say what they think, which is not always good, because they don't know what that person is going through, and they just see and they just verbally say that, oh, go back to your country, or you don't belong here. And these are racist comments, and they are just demoralizing for someone that mustered up the courage to leave, wherever they were stationed, to go out and seek help. And you know some people don't even want to be that vulnerable, so they will prefer to stay and just push through the sickness, doing worse actually, because certain times you don't push through physical health situations, they just keep on getting worse and worse. So that's it. You might not see them in your usual waiting rooms. They would probably not want to do that. Yeah.
Mhm. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, I thank you once again, being that you're um, still battling the challenges of escaping the war, and yet here you are, empowered and sharing your experiences with us. So
Thank you for the opportunity.
thank you so much, Esther, also for the point you made, how important it is to make sleep, good sleep, um, sleep hygiene a priority. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How it is important to relax. Um, you mentioned journaling,
Mm-hmm.
which we often forget. That is simply writing down as an effective tool how important it is to go out for a walk, even if it's something so small, can help to improve the situation. And thank you so much again.
Thank you.
That we should always try to, at least within our peer group or in the community, to try to reach out. You mentioned in your case spirituality being an effective tool for you. So, in certain situations, we should always try to make use of things that are at our hand.
Mm.
As we come slowly to the end of the program, I would like to give you each a statement, a closing statement you would like to make. On behalf of Black Mental Health Matters, I would say we wish you really a lot of success, well being, and that you are able to achieve all what you wish to achieve. And I give you the last word to make the last statement. And thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Esther,
you.
do you want to go first?
You go first.
Okay, so thank you so much for the opportunity. It's so nice to know that Black Health matters and that we are engaged and together in this fight. It's really comforting actually. So thank you for the opportunity. I would just like to say that we should not look down on individuality as an instrument and tool to healthcare and Black mental health, because each and every one of us, we affect each other in minute but very very distinct way. It would blow your mind how you would, that your smile, that your good morning, just your whole attitude, everything would affect someone that is next to you, that is going through so much. So in as much as we need to have professional healthcare system, social health workers in the system working to make all this a thing of the past, but we also should know that we ourselves can play a major role in affecting our brothers and sisters. And coupled with educating ourselves about the situation and all the healthy tips that Sister Esther have said, we can also work on ourselves and also impact the next person. Yeah, so that's all I have to say. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Peace. Yeah, thank you, Sister Tony, for the opportunity today to share my thoughts on this issue. And like I said before, I think it's very important, and self care is one of the greatest gifts you will ever give to yourself as a person. So let's continue to practice self care and be nice to the people around you. You never know what the person next to you is going through. And also, I hope you could reach out to your family, your friends. Okay, sometimes people going through these things, they find it very difficult to reach out. So if you could be the one to reach out to them, talk to them and all this, it's very helpful. And yeah, I think let us all think positive thoughts. Let's not dwell in the negativity. If it's just one thing that you think is the only positive thing in your life, just hold on to it. Just, keep pushing, and I think everything will work out in the end. Thank you.
Thank you. Black Mental Health Matters.
Black mental health.